I would like to welcome today Miss Houry Babahekian. She's a registered Lebanese dietitian, and she's going to talk today about nutrition and education. Hello, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you, Mary, for this talk today. I'm really honored to be here. And I have really some interesting information that may be new to some of the parents that I'm willing to share today.
Looking forward. So usually we hear, especially now recently on social media, that healthy lifestyle is very important. Kids need to be healthy, especially during pandemic. So what do we mean by healthy lifestyle, and how can kids be healthy, and what is its importance?
Yes, a lot of times when we hear healthy lifestyle, the first thing that goes our mind towards is nutrition and physical activity. But there's so much more to healthy lifestyle. There's the amount of sleep and rest that we get, the amount of sunlight that we get, the time we spend outdoors, how we take care of our mental health, our social well-being. So everything is part of a healthy lifestyle. So during the pandemic, we have been since we've been in a lockdown for a very long time. So we're not maybe not getting enough sunlight. We're not going outdoors a lot. A lot of our social interactions have been reduced. So many things have been affected, but still, nutrition, physical activity, rest, and stress or our mental well-being is still a very important part of a healthy lifestyle.
For
And
example, if we are parents, yes, and we want to be creating some healthy routines at home with our children to make sure that they're eating enough from the good groups of food for them, or enough time hours of sleep. How many hours, for example, for kids would be considered the healthy enough, or enough time of rest and sleep? Because especially now all children are on digital media, digital tools, and they're spending a lot of time behind electronics. So how can we, as parents, what are some guidelines you would tell us that we can do?
Pre-pandemic or before the corona pandemic started, we usually went with the recommendations of no more than 2 hours of screen time during the day for children. But unfortunately, now we have this extreme challenge that almost all of their classes are now online. On top of that, they're studying online, they're preparing online, and even their games have become online. So they're spending a lot of time seated. At schools, they used to have recess where they used to at least play or walk around or have some movement. They used to have physical education classes where, again, they got to have this movement or physical activity. Unfortunately, with the start of the pandemic, we are seeing a lot of kids not getting enough physical activity. So the least we can do is at least encourage them to have activities at home with their parents, maybe do some dancing or even some physical activity or exercises online, or maybe if at home they have like a balcony or a terrace, or even the rooftop of the building, the stairs that they can use, uh, at least to get a little bit of physical activity, because the recommendation for kids is at least 1 hour every day of physical activity. So we need to do as much as we can for them to get this 1 hour of physical activity throughout the day.
Now with the kids, we're seeing that especially the smaller kids, They're maybe this new generation is maybe a bit lazy, and in the move, and this 1 hour will be a hectic work for them. And we're seeing another extreme with the teenagers who are always trying to do diet, lose weight, look nice, and the boys are all the time in the protein shakes, protein-based cookies, etc. So they're always going through this ways of staying healthy in their own way. What do you say about this? I mean, girls dieting, when at below which age it's good to eat normal, and when dieting is healthy, and keeping a track of what we're eating, how we're eating. When is it okay to start paying attention and be very careful of what we eat?
Okay, so this is something maybe that might sound new to some of the parents. It is never okay to diet, no matter what the age of the person is, and no matter how much their weight is, because diets eventually can lead to a poor relationship with their food, with their bodies, and can even leave long-lasting damage. Sometimes diets can lead to eating disorders. So that's why even from a very young age, it is very important to develop a healthy relationship with food for the kids. And when we say healthy relationship with food, it means that there is no connotation of good foods or bad foods, because forcing kids to eat good foods, which are usually, when we say good foods, we think of fruits, vegetables, and like whole grains. And when we say bad foods, the first thing we think of is, let's say, chocolates, chips, cookies,
Junk
fried
food.
food. So when we force kids to eat those good foods, they might show resistance and rebellion, especially teenagers, because that's the age that they start rebelling mostly. And when we deprive them, allow them to eat those bad foods, they will start craving these foods more often and want them more, or even eat them in secret. So that's why, in order to avoid this, to have a better relationship with food, it is better to remove the good and bad connotations. Instead, call these foods nourishing foods, and tell them all the benefits that they will be getting from eating fruits and vegetables, eating cheese and milk products, eating whole grains, all the benefits that they will get. And the rest of the foods, we can call them more like play foods, which are delicious and good to have in moderation. And if we want to compare it to how we study, or how they study, they don't 7. They also need some playtime, some rest time. Same goes with the
Fun
food.
time. Yeah.
They would have to, they need to have all the nourishing foods that they can get, but they also need to enjoy some of the play foods. So if we allow them to have these foods in moderation, it will reduce the high cravings, or how much they will want to have these foods. So we would end up with a balance between the nourishing foods and the play foods. And eventually, when we remove this deprivation and restriction, they will eventually balance, and they will in themselves want to eat some of the nourishing foods.
So I guess if we're going to summarize, it's more like eating from all different groups, as long as we're keeping a balance of making sure that we're eating from all categories. And I'm sure water is very important component as well during this phase, and how much we're drinking. Some people say we need to drink 1.5 liters. Others say 2. Some say whenever you feel thirsty. So for usually teenagers and children, How many liters is fair or good?
It's very variable, but we usually recommend at least 6 to 8 glasses of water, which is 1.5 to 2 liters. But it's good to always have water accessible to them. So, for example, if they're at school, it is always better to have a source of water in the hallways or in the playground, or even have the kids. Let them have their water bottles that they can fill easily. And same at home, it's always good to have water in front of their eyes and very accessible to them at all times, so they can keep remembering to drink water. Usually, when we get to the point that we are thirsty, it means that we have already we are reaching dehydration. So we shouldn't allow ourselves to reach that extreme thirst level to remember that we should be drinking water.
Here it's good that you mentioned the school. So I also wanted to ask your opinion. If, as the schools, we would like to encourage more the healthy lifestyle and encourage more the awareness maybe about balanced food. What do you think schools can do to encourage more of taking care of your body and your mind, just not only giving information, rather also taking care of the whole student? As the schools, what can schools do to help this nutrition campaign?
Yes, there are several ways that the school can help. We can start with the teachers themselves being role models to these kids by them eating healthy foods or nourishing fruits in front of the kids, or doing activities in class, preparing those nourishing foods. And usually, when kids participate in preparing the food themselves, that kind of gives them the sense of independence and sense of confidence that they're being able to accomplish something. And of course, we know how there's peer pressure when every kid sees the other what is doing, and they start doing the same thing. So when kids see each other enjoying these healthy foods, this will also encourage them to eat them more. That's one way. Another way teachers can also help is not to be judgmental about a kid's weight or what the kids are eating, even if it's with good intention, because that can create a negative body image and lead to unhealthy eating habits. So it's always good to encourage them by telling, like I said previously, how the healthy foods will be benefiting them, will be adding to their life, instead of just telling them some of these foods are not good for you. So that's another way teachers can help. And as school administration, there's always the school canteen or the school shops, and the foods that are being offered in these school shops. That is, of course, uh, a variety of both nourishing foods and as well as play foods, of course, in moderation.
I believe when these habits become part of the school policies, it shows to the parents and to the students that it's awareness, and the way we take care of our minds and our hearts and spiritually we grow. Also, we need to take care of our bodies, because a lot of times we see, especially in the teenagers, that they're looking towards the thin people who are really the cool people, and they are really struggling, and sometimes silently, and they're not expressing that they need help. So maybe through indirect ways of just discussing awareness and sharing, maybe, and like you said, role models in front of them, they will see that it's not about who's the thin person, it's more about who's healthy, especially now during pandemics, and with safety and health as priority. United Nations had announced in April a day for Health Day. because it's really
Yeah.
important. Sometimes we're lost with a lot of confusions around us. We're forgetting to take care of our health, and we usually think about it when we're sick. And we start, "Yeah, I wish I was taking more care. I wish I didn't do that bad habit." So, like you said, it needs to be a campaign and more of awareness rather than judging. Now, is it possible to share some of the menus maybe and some pictures of what activities or things that students or teenagers can cook on their own? And like you said, they will really, it will help them boost their self-esteem, and it will also help them maybe do a home activity together, because the more we use our time at home, especially during pandemic as a family, it's easier for us to make it through, rather than every person taking a device and sitting on a different couch and all busy with technology, rather than spending some quality time with each other. And maybe cooking is one of the activities. And I believe there are a lot of children who really enjoy cooking. And maybe if they can see your recipes here and try it as well, and share their feedback with us, so also we can take a look at how cooking in real life will really take place and will create some fun family atmosphere and activity. Those who are watching us now, what would you like to tell them if they are teenagers or parents or school administrators and teachers? What would you advise them or some give them some tips?
Yes, before I move to some food ideas or recipes, I also wanted to mention as part of a school policy that an idea is one of the very important things to enjoy food is to be seated and fully focus on the meal that you're eating without any distractions. So maybe schools can before if students, of course, go back to school and the recess time is back, they would allocate time for the kids to eat seated before they go to the playground and play around, because we know sometimes kids would be holding their sandwiches and running around playing. So eating seated and fully focusing and enjoying their meal is also part of having a healthy relationship with food. Also, coming back to the recipes, recipes don't have to be complicated, and it depends on, of course, the age of the kids and their motor skills and how they're being able to use knives and if the stove, if it's something to be cooked. So they can be really easy things like just making a fruit salad with a variety of seasonal fruits or the fruits that are available at home, just chopping fruits and putting them all together with a little bit of fresh fruit juice that they can prepare at home. Another healthy snack that they can prepare is just air popped popcorn at home that they can have. Also, some crunchy vegetables. They can actually help their moms wash the vegetables that they bring from the supermarket. Again, cut them in slices like the carrots, the cucumbers, the cauliflower, and maybe make some dipping sauces with them. Like Lebanese, some hummus, or even cocktail sauce. That it's important what that they're eating at least these vegetables. It's not just eating a certain type of sauce. Another thing that they can make is fruits dipped in chocolate. They're still having chocolate, but at the same time they're having fruits with it. So this is a way to put the kids at ease that chocolate is not really a bad thing and that they can actually enjoy it with some fruit. They can. I used to do this with kids. Make sandwiches on toasts, making faces with the ingredients like putting cheese and then cutting the tomatoes and the cucumbers in a way that it makes a face of the sandwich. So it becomes like more pleasing. If we want to talk more things that can involve cooking, even even some cookies and cakes that they can bake at home, it's still okay, as long as not everything that we're making is dough and cakes and cookies. Again, we come back to the idea of
Balance.
balance and moderation. Sometimes we bake cookies, sometimes we bake cakes, other times we make salads, and we make like more nourishing things, maybe like some egg muffins, beaten in with some vegetables and cooked in a muffin pan that end up looking like small muffins.
Okay.
So in this way they can experience a variety of foods and let's say cooking techniques, and not just one thing. And like you said, there are kids that might even love to cook, and it would be a great idea for them instead of just playing with their tablets and phones.
I believe there are a lot of ideas, and like you said, I believe the secret from today's session is to keep in moderate amounts. And there is no good food, bad food, as long as kids are aware. They're aware of its value of, in each of the different components, and they know that it's balanced. And I guess it's like everything in life. The both extremes might be not very wise, and I guess nutrition is
Exactly.
one of those points. Would you like to share anything else as like one tip for let's say kids, if they're listening now, what would you tell the kids this time?
What would I tell the kids? That in the end, it's about it's not only about food. It's not on. It's also about everything that you do in your life, the quality time that you spend with your parents, with your siblings, with your friends. Food is not only nourishment for the body. Also, it's sometimes um, comfort. Food can be comfort. Food can be a way to socialize with others. Food can be part of tradition. So it's not just about health. That's why it is good to have a good relationship with food in order to have a good social experience with your family and your friends as well. And like I said, everything in moderation, and it's always about what good food adds to your life instead of what it takes away. So focus on what it adds, the good things, rather than what it takes away.
Thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll be following you on social media for your health tips and your videos and your different recipes. And really, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much.
And thank you again for inviting me to this talk. It was really a pleasure.
Thank you.